Welcome back, dear students. In the previous lecture, we are up to the applications of the plant tissue culture. So the first two applications of the plant tissue culture, that is the micropropagation and soma clone variation, that we studied in the previous lecture. Now in this lecture, we are going to study the third one, application of the plant tissue culture, that is haploid production. So haploid, those plants which possesses half the number of chromosomes, that is it possesses only a single set of chromosome, that plants are called as the haploid plants. So as you know that the plants are diploid, that possesses two sets of chromosome, but in some plant if they possess only a single set of chromosome, such plants are called as the haploid plants. The haploid parts of the plants such as pollens, microspores, so that can be used for the production of haploid plants, because these structures or this part of the plant have only a single set of chromosomes. These are the haploid cells, pollens, microspore, these are the haploid cells. So these cells has been used for the production of haploid plants by using tissue culture technique. So this is the important application of the plant tissue culture, that is the haploid production. So haploid plants can be produced from immature pollens or microspores. So these are referred as male gametophytic cells which are haploid, possesses only single set of chromosome. The pollens are cultured on a solid or a liquid medium. The callus or embryo formed is transferred to a suitable medium to produce the haploid plant. Haploid plants are characterized by possessing only single set of chromosome. So that has been designated with the symbol N. N, single N means it possesses only single set of chromosome. 2N, that is the diploid, it possesses two sets of chromosome. So haploid plants can be produced from immature pollens or microspores. So such pollens are cultured on a solid or a liquid medium. So from that pollen, either callus or embryo has been developed, and that has been transferred to a suitable medium to produce a haploid plant. These haploid plants are characterized by possessing only single set of chromosome. Haploid plants are great significance for the production of homozygous lines or homozygous plants and for the improvement of plants through plant breeding. So in the plant breeding, the homozygous plants are crossed with each other. So in the hybridization experiment, these homozygous plants has been obtained from haploid plants. So haploid plants are of great significance for the production of homozygous plant. Now the technique of haploid production, in vitro techniques of haploid production. So the first one is the anther culture or pollen culture. So in this method, the haploid plants are obtained by culturing anther or pollen. So these haploids are known as androgenic haploids, because the anther pollen, it is the part of androecium. So these haploids plant obtained after culturing anther or pollen on solid or liquid medium. Such haploid plants are androgenic haploids. The second way is the ovule or ovary culture. So these haploids are produced by ovule or ovary culture in vitro, and such haploids are known as gynogenic haploid. Gynogenic, ovule, ovary, it is the part of gynoecium. So the plantlets or the haploids that has been produced by ovule or ovary culture in vitro, such haploids are known as gynogenic haploids. So androgenic haploid that has been obtained by anther culture or pollen culture. Gynogenic haploids are produced by using ovule or ovary culture. Now the next one application is the protoplast fusion. So here the protoplast from the two somatic cells are isolated, and that has been fused together to produce the somatic hybrid or the hybrid protoplast. So protoplast fusion is a protoplast is a cellular structure of cell of which cell walls are removed. Cell without cell wall, that we call it as a protoplast, or cell devoid of cell wall, without cell wall, it is called as the protoplast. So protoplast is a cellular structure of cell of which cell walls are removed, and cytoplasmic membrane is the outermost layer of such cell. Okay, so that is called as the protoplast. So protoplast having cytoplasmic membrane as a outermost layer instead of the cell wall, because cell wall is removed from the cell, the remaining structure, it is called as the protoplast. In such cells, protoplast can be obtained by specific lytic enzymes to remove the cell wall. So as you know that the cell wall has been made up of mostly cellulose and hemicellulose. So the cellulase enzyme that has been used here, lytic, that can break down the cell wall. So the protoplast can be obtained by using the various lytic enzymes to remove the cell wall. The protoplast fusion is a physical phenomenon during which two or more protoplasts come in contact, adhere to other either spontaneously or in presence of fusion inducing agent. So the fusion of the protoplast that has been achieved by using different methods, for example spontaneous fusion, induced fusion, mechanical fusion, chemofusion, electrofusion. So any of this method has been used for the fusion of the protoplast, where the spontaneously, when the protoplast, two or more protoplasts come in contact with each other, they adhere to each other and they fuse spontaneously. Some inducing agents, some inducing chemicals are used for the fusion of the protoplast. Mechanically the fusion has been carried out by using certain chemicals. The fusion has been carried out, it is chemofusion. Electrofusion, a short electric pulse of a microsecond has been generated for the fusion of the protoplast. So that is the electrofusion. So by using these different methods, the protoplast fusion has been carried out. Now the advantages of the protoplast fusion. By protoplast fusion, it is possible to transfer some useful genes such as disease resistance, nitrogen fixation, protein quality, frost hardness, drought resistance, herbicide resistance, cold resistance from one species to the another species. So these are the agronomic characters, these are the useful traits that has been transferred by using the protoplast fusion. So some genes which confer resistance to the diseases, some genes are responsible for nitrogen fixation, for example NIP gene, nitrogen fixer gene, protein quality, frost hardness, drought resistance, herbicide resistance, cold resistance. So such genes has been transferred from one species to the another by using a protoplast fusion. Next advantage, it is helpful for genetic recombination and strain improvement in many filamentous fungi. During protoplast fusions, genes from different organisms can be combined to create new strains with desired properties. So here the hybridization experiment has been carried out to combine together characters or transfer character from one plant species to the other species. Similarly, the protoplast fusion has been carried out for transferring a gene from different organisms. So genes from different organisms can be combined and to create a new strains with desired properties by using a protoplast fusion. Protoplast fusion is a powerful engineering technique to improve the strains of industrially important microorganism. So industrially important microorganism, if you take the example of Saccharomyces cerevisiae, which is generally used for the production of ethanol in wine industry, in beer production. So such strain of the fungi, that is the Saccharomyces cerevisiae, has been used. So the strain improvement in the industrially important microorganisms has been carried out by using protoplast fusion. In modern biotechnology, technique of protoplast fusion very important in doing advanced research. It is very oftenly used technique in tissue culture, micromolecular biology, biochemical engineering and biotechnology. Protoplast fusion technology is mainly used for somatic hybridization in different crops. So somatic hybridization is the one of the technique where the protoplast from the somatic cell has been fused together to obtain the hybrid protoplast or the somatic hybrid. So such somatic hybrid has been cultured on the nutrient medium to produce the entire plant. So this technique, it is called as somatic hybridization. So in somatic hybridization, the protoplast fusion technology has been used. Next one application is the Somatic hybrids, so these are produced from the process of protoplast fusion, in which protoplasts from two different species are taken. They are fused by very precise techniques. So the techniques that we know, for example, spontaneous fusion, induced fusion, chemofusion, electrofusion, mechanical fusion. So by using any one of the technique, the protoplasts from two different plant species are taken and fused, where the resultant hybrid obtained, it is called as the somatic hybrids. So somatic hybrids are produced from the process of protoplast fusion, in which the protoplasts from two different plant species are taken and these are fused by very precise techniques like spontaneous fusion, induced fusion, electrofusion, chemofusion, mechanical fusion. And the resultant somatic hybrids are generally dissimilar. For example, the hybrid of potato and tomato, that is the pomato. So that hybrid has been obtained by using somatic hybridization technique. So somatic hybridization is the in vitro fusion of isolated protoplasts to form hybrid cell, and such hybrid cell has been used for the regeneration of the whole plant. So somatic hybridization is the in vitro fusion of isolated protoplasts to form hybrid cells, and its subsequent development to form a somatic hybrid by using tissue culture technique. As on today, many interspecific somatic hybrids are produced through protoplast fusion. For example, Petunia species, Datura, Inoxia, Nicotia tabacum, Lycopersicum esculentum tomato, Solanum tuberosum potato, Brassica oleracea cabbage, Brassica napus. So these are the plant species where the interspecific somatic hybrids are produced through protoplast fusion using plant tissue culture technique. So somatic hybridization is the in vitro fusion of isolated protoplasts to form hybrid cell, and that hybrid cell, it is called as somatic hybrid, has been used for the subsequent development of a complete plant. The somatic hybrids are of two types. Symmetric somatic hybrid. Symmetric when the chromosome number in the hybrid is equal to the sum of the two parental protoplasts. That hybrid is called as symmetric somatic hybrids. When the chromosome number in the hybrid is equal to the sum of the two parental protoplasts. For example, protoplast fusion between Nicotiana tabacum and Nicotiana nasophilia gives symmetric hybrid, where the chromosome number of these two parent, that is the Nicotiana tabacum and Nicotiana nasophilia, has been calculated. If you take a sum of the chromosome number, it is equal to the sum of the two parental protoplasts. So the somatic hybrid obtained by the fusion of these two plant. For example, if you take for understanding, Nicotiana tabacum having, for example, 20 chromosomes, while Nicotiana nasophilia having suppose 24 chromosomes. Now after the fusion of the protoplast of these two plant species, the resultant somatic hybrid obtained having the chromosome number 24 plus 20, that is the 44. So it is a symmetric somatic hybrids. The another one type is a asymmetric hybrids. These have wide variation in chromosome number than the exact total of the two species. So in the previous case, if we take the asymmetric somatic hybrid, the somatic hybrid obtained after the fusion of the protoplast of the two plant species, the chromosome number is the exact of the total of chromosomes of two species. But in the asymmetric hybrids, these have wide variation in the chromosome number than the exact total of the two species. The asymmetric hybrids may be regarded as hybrids. For example, asymmetric hybrids are formed when Brassica napus and Brassica juncea protoplast are fused. So the chromosome number is not the exact of the two species, it's not the exact total of the chromosomes of the two species. These are asymmetric hybrids. Symmetric hybrids are the somatic hybrids that possesses chromosome number exact the total of the chromosomes of two species from which that hybrid has been derived. Here is the asymmetric hybrid where the chromosome number is variable than the exact total of the chromosomes of two plant species. The major applications of somatic hybrids are disease resistance, environmental tolerance, quality character, cytoplasmic, male sterility, etc. Although somatic hybridization is a novel approach in plant biotechnology, there are many limitations for this, such as plant produced through somatic hybridization are sterile, are not able to produce the functional seeds. These plants show many variations. They may show genetic instability. Production of viable somatic hybrid is difficult. So these are the limitations. Although the somatic hybridization is a novel approach, novel technology in the plant biotechnology, but it having these limitations, such as mostly the somatic hybrids are sterile. These plants show many variations. It also show genetic instability, and the production of viable somatic hybrid is difficult. The last one is the embryo rescue. So embryo rescue is the most earliest and successful technique. It helps to develop viable plants from immature or non-surviving embryo. So as you know that the plant has been produced by using the embryo, because the embryo possesses shoot initials and root initials. So when in case of those plants which produce the immature embryos or non-surviving embryos, so in case of those plants, the plantlets, the whole plant regeneration has been carried out by using the technique called as the embryo rescue. So such immature embryos or non-surviving embryos are induced to produce the viable plant by using a tissue culture technique that is called as embryo rescue. So the embryo has been rescued, has been excised from the seed, and that has been cultured on the nutrient medium for whole plant regeneration. This technique is very useful in modern plant breeding methods when the interspecific, the cross between two different species, or even intergeneric crosses, a cross between two different genera, are not developing proper embryos. So when a cross has been made by using a plant breeding methods, such cross between the two different species or two different genera, that is interspecific or even intergeneric crosses, so such crosses not developing the proper embryos. So this can be developed into viable plant through embryo rescue techniques. So such embryos are excised from the seed and that has been cultured on the nutrient medium to develop the viable plant. This method is developed for helping the immature embryos or weak embryos or non-surviving embryos to give them a chance of survival and to develop into viable plants. This is done through embryo rescue technique. The weak or immature embryos are excised, that is removed and put on nutrient medium. The embryo rescue mostly resemble to the embryo culture and very helpful to create interspecific or intergeneric hybrids which usually produce abortive seeds. So immature embryo or non-surviving embryo that has been excised from the seed. So embryo rescue is the one of the technique that gives a chance to the immature embryo or weak embryos to develop into the viable plants. So it gives a chance for survival to these immature embryos. So this can be done by using embryo rescue technique. So what is the technique? Rescue. So embryo has been removed, has been excised from the seed and that has been put on nutrient medium, and such embryo can develop into the viable plant by using a tissue culture technique. So such method is useful to create interspecific or intergeneric hybrids which usually produce abortive seeds. So this is all the embryo rescue. Embryo rescue is mostly useful in sexual incompatibility in hybridization. So sexual incompatibility is the one of the phenomenon where the pollen of the same plant are not able to germinate on the stigma or effect fertilization. So this is called as sexual incompatibility. Mostly it is a self incompatibility where the pollen are not able to effect fertilization. So in these cases, the seed development usually fails or small shrunken seeds are formed. The embryo rescue technique solve this problem of sexual incompatibility. So sexual incompatibility is the inability of the pollen to effect fertilization. So in this case, the seed produced are usually, these are small shrunken seed with the immature embryo, or seed development usually fails. So in such cases, the embryo rescue technique has been used, where the immature embryo or non-surviving embryo has been excised, removed or rescued from the seed, and that has been cultured on the nutrient medium. So from that embryo, the whole plant regeneration has been carried out by using a tissue culture technique like the embryo culture. Here the applications of the embryo rescue: breeding of incompatible interspecific and intergeneric plants, help to overcome seed dormancy. Seed dormancy, it is the inability of the seed to germinate under favorable conditions. So to overcome the seed dormancy, that embryo rescue has been used. Determination of seed viability, whether the seed is viable or not. Recovery of maternal haploids that develop as a result of chromosome elimination following interspecific hybridization. Helps in studies on seed germination and development. So these are the applications of embryo rescue. So this is all for today. In this way we finish our second chapter, that is the plant tissue culture. Okay, thank you.